My name is James Molamba. Would like to address myself to several issues. And before I start, I'm an activist, been one for some time now. Um, I started my interest in leadership and in politics as far back as 2015, 2014. Um, since my campus days, and even when I was in high school. I think leadership is something that is in some people that you cannot separate from them. The same way you cannot separate a pastor's calling or a reverend's calling or a bishop's calling from who they really are. We've had professionals in this country before who've really risen up the cadres of education, but I've had to summon to their calling. I've had to listen and heed to their calling. One good example is Anthony Mueria, the Archbishop. Anthony Mueria, if I'm not wrong, is an engineer by profession. But he had to answer to his call, and today he is an archbishop in the Catholic Church. I am saying this because leadership and activism is a calling. And some people confuse this. They think that it is something that just sprouts out of nowhere. Activism and leadership does not sprout from nowhere. It comes from somewhere. It comes from a deep conviction that is in your heart. Not everyone can become a leader. Not everyone can become an activist. And talking about leadership in this aspect, I'm addressing myself to political leadership. So many people have failed in this country as politicians and as leaders. Let me put it that way, as leaders, because they did not have that calling. Walikuwa wanaiforce. You cannot force it. The same way you cannot force ministry, or preaching. If it is not in you, it is not in you. So I'm saying this because in the past 4 months, this country has been treated to rising political temperatures. More so occasioned by the Gen Z movement and the Gen Z demographic that I'm part of. Yes, now we are trying to ask the right questions in government. We are pushing for better governance, and we want transparency, accountability, meritocracy, and we want a better constitution, a better parliament, a better executive, a better judiciary. That is just a list of the demands we as the Gen Z movement have. And the aspirations we have for this country are lofty. We see a country, we look into the future and see a country that serves all Kenyans equitably, regardless of tribe, regardless of race, a country that is free of corruption, a country that respects the rule of law, a country whose three arms of government work independently, a country whose independent commissions like the Police Service Commission are not operated and puppeteered by the executive, a country that respects right to life, a country that respects right to health, a country that respects right to better education, a country that puts the citizens first. That is the country we are fighting for as the Gen Z movement. And I'm addressing this issue because we've had a surge in the number of new activists in the recent 4 months. And I'm saying this because we've failed as Kenyans to on vigilance, on those that we front and on those that we emulate as activists. Some of the people we've been looking up to, myself, I have not been looking up to the likes of Morara, the likes of Kasmuel, the likes of Mercy, and I have nothing personal with them. I have a conviction in me and a yardstick for activism that I've been following for a long time. There's a difference between Kasmuel, Morara, and Mercy if you compare them to Okia Mtata. Yes, they are young, like I am. But that consistency for activism is what I'm looking for. It does not sprout from nowhere. I said leadership and activism, and I will reiterate here, does not come from the blues. It does not come from nowhere. It has to come from somewhere. So when you say you following this guy, this lady, that other lady, this activist, that other activist, have you as a Kenyan, as a Gen Z, done your due diligence? Do you know this person? Have you followed what they were involved in prior to them dominating your screens and TikTok and social media pages? Have you followed? Because they had a life before this. Some of the guys you've been worshipping were eating with this government, and possibly they have been awarded tenders before, as early as 2022, 2023, and the years that are beyond that. Some of the guys you are following today have been working for this government. Some of the guys you are praising have been campaigning for this government. Some of the guys you are now worshipping are part of the problem we have today. If they did not support this government, if they decampaigned William Ruto, and if they pushed for what is right and for better governance from the word go, possibly we would not have Ruto as president. There were other options. Some people say Raila is not an option. I am a proud supporter of Raila Odinga. Well, as of today and as of this year, I have unsubscribed from his politics and his party, because I have given that party and Raila Odinga enough time to redeem himself, and he hasn't. Over time, he has proven to us that he is a con man and a traitor. We've put so much trust on that man, and that is where the problem is. As Kenyans, we tend to put too much faith and too much trust in one person, and then they end up disappointing us. Then we cry wolf. Well, we knew worshipping a human being is tantamount to blasphemy. I mean, the only man who was half God, half man, who should be worshipped is Jesus Christ. Following these leaders, like we are Jesus' disciples, is a lost path. So as you get the next activist after Morara to start worshipping, ask yourself these questions. Be vigilant. Ask yourself, how consistent have they been? How transparent is their former life? And and what is their longevity in leadership and in politics? Because student politics and campus politics cannot summarize activism. Yes, it is a good platform. Yes, student politics and campus politics is a good platform. But after that, what happens? Where did these guys go after campus politics? They went to these political parties. They went to the enemy, most of them. They were campaigning for this government and for this wicked coalition. We had already discussed as Kenyans and agreed that this guy is a thief. But you said you would rather have that thief. We had already discussed and agreed as Kenyans that Ruto is the wrong man for the job. But you agreed and decided to vote for that guy. So if there are activists out there who have been misleading us and they were part of the Ruto campaign team, we should run away from them. And I'm not saying Kenyans should run to me. I am just saying we should be vigilant and alert on people we follow from today going henceforth. Those leaders, those activists, most of them are not genuine. Most of them are ulterior motives, and most of them are in this for political mileage. Most of them are not genuine with this thing, and they are not authentic. And if you cannot see that, I'm challenging you today to start seeing that. That guy called Morara, I warned you against following Kasmuel. You did not listen. I warned you against Morara. I had a small following. You did not listen. That guy is holding a parallel meeting at Narok to go clean Narok City. Well, Narok City has a city council. I mean, as a municipal council. What is the work of the council officers in Narok? That guy is telling you to abort patriotism. Here in the CBD, when Kenyans are going to Uhuru Park, patriotically, to remember those that have fallen in the June and the July protests, that guy is telling you to go to Narok to clean Narok City. Does it even make sense? Does it make sense? But you are also to blame because you did not question this guy when you started singing praises for him. Just because he was good at mimicking Ruto does not make him an activist. Just because he was good at calling out the government does not make him an activist. The yardstick for activism is longevity, consistency, and transparency. You cannot be supporting the government in 2022 and 2023, then magically in 2024, because the entire country has turned against President Ruto, you decide now to join the other Kenyans to cast a blame on this president, while you are the one who campaigned for him and you are launching projects with him. I am saying this irregrettably because I have gone through the profiles of these guys and I'm telling you it is fishy. Kasmuel deleted all his posts when he got to fame. Morara Kebaso did the same. Go to his Facebook and go to his Twitter and TikTok. You will not find former videos of him being involved with the same people he is castigating today. You will not find that history. If you go to my Facebook and my X, you will find posts that go back as early as 2018 and there beyond of me articulating myself and criticizing the government of Uhuru Kenyatta, the government the government of Uhuru and Ruto, and the campaigning Ruto and telling Kenyans not to vote for this guy. But you have people who've been eating with this guy and his close cronies now lying today to you that they are the ones who've come to liberate you. How? It does not even make sense. That Kasmuel guy was disinterested in politics till he saw the Gen Z movement is a real thing. And he took this as an opportunity to clout chase, as an opportunity to get fame for himself. And it has gotten to his head. He thinks he speaks for the Gen Z movement. He thinks everybody should cower behind him. He thinks everybody should follow him. And I saw this selfishness in these guys. And that is why I decided not to follow any of them. Kasmuel was organizing press conferences at Radisson Blue. That hotel is expensive. Ask yourself who was paying for those press conferences. He has not organized one, not two, not three, so many, like 5 or more. Who was paying for those conferences? Morara Kebaso started touring this country, exposing the government on the stalled projects that the government has been unable to finish, those that the government defunded, and so on and so on. And that is a noble task. That I agree with. That I endorse. But then that same guy was campaigning for this government. That same guy was launching the same ghost projects with this government. Then this government was good. But now that the Gen Z factor happened, this government is now bad, and he wants to ride on the efforts and on the deaths and on the efforts and on the sweat of the Gen Zs who went to the streets on June and July. He was not even in the front line. We were in the front line. I have been shot with rubber bullets. I have been shot with tear gas canisters. I have been clobbered by police. They have tried to abduct me 5 times, and this is on record. If you go through my TikTok, you will see all this evidence. But they do not want as genuine people as I am, because I'm not the only genuine activist out here. They do not want those. They want clowns. They want clout chasers. They want opportunists. And that is the same way they decided to vote for Ruto while we had serious candidates on that ballot. And to me, Raila was an option in 2022. I will reiterate that. I know some people will not be happy with this, but before he sold us out in 2023, we still had some confidence in him. And I'm saying today we should stop following these people. I'm saying today, before you follow anyone, be vigilant and be alert. There are people who are supporting Orengo and Atiende Amolo before the proceedings of Gachagua came through. Now, listening to them in parliament and in Senate embarrassing themselves, you would wonder why you've given them so much airtime, why you've put so much space in your head thinking Atiende Amolo is an incorruptible guy and a very smart guy, why you've worshipped James Orengo your entire life, and why those guys are actually have space in your head. And I'm saying we should be vigilant, we should be alert, because if we don't be alert, we are going to lose a lot. We are going to follow the wrong people, and they are always going to lead us to the ditch. This movement, the Gen Z movement, does not have to be about one person. It doesn't have to be about me. It can be about all of us. We can have a collective political party, because I am assuring you, we will have another political party before 2027 for the Gen Zs, and possibly not one. That Morara Kebaso party is it is his own selfish idea. He is the party leader, he is the secretary general, he is the organizing secretary, he is the treasurer, he is the everything. He is the originator of the idea, and everything is about him. It is about him becoming president. I did not go to the streets risking my life to make someone a president, especially one who is not even a real activist. These pseudo-intellectuals and pseudo-activists have taken space in your head for far too long. It is about time you open your eyes. And if you do not listen to the voice of reason, then tutarudi hapa kusema kilituramba, niliwawarn. It is a regrettable conversation to say niliwawarn, kilituramba. It is regrettable because we have lost so much time and energy following these guys, and they have led us to a ditch. Manze, tufunguke macho. Let's not get to that point. Let us not get to that point. And as you saw, the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, this is my closing remark. This government does not care about you. This government is not interested with with what matters to Kenyans. Matters health, they rushed. Matters education, they do not care about. The new funding model has flopped. The rating system for students and the banding system has failed, and they do not care. They just want to push it by hook and crook. Health has failed, education has failed, infrastructure has failed. The government has been unable to tackle corruption, and the government is not interested in tackling corruption. A thief is not interested in tackling that, in closing the tap from where he fetches his money. He is not interested. This city hall here in Nairobi is a den of thieves. We are not talking about that. The government is not interested in regulating the corruption that is in city hall. It is not interested. Yet city hall, and Nairobi County is the capital city of Kenya. The executive, yes, you would say it would be undermining the Nairobi County by interfering in that mess. But the government has a jurisdiction to interfere on any parastatal, on any county government. If corruption is involved, and if the government wants to keep law and order, a governor cannot be unlawful and unorderly and let to roam free just because the executive does not want to meddle with the affairs of the county government. The government has a mandate to deliver to Kenyans on corruption. The government has a mandate to deliver to Kenyans on corruption. The government has a mandate to deliver to Kenyans on corruption. The government has a mandate to deliver to Kenyans on corruption. I have repeated that intentionally because we've never tackled corruption, and this government is not interested in tackling corruption, and that is why they went for that Adani company to do your airports. We had reputable companies and individuals that showed interest in renovating your airport, but the government would not pick those individuals because the government is a thiefocracy. President Ruto is a thief. Joe already told us that. Ruto ni mwizi. And I am saying that confidently because Joe is an informed guy and he told us that. So this government is a den of thieves, all of them, from the MPs to the senators to the president. They are not interested in helping you, and that is why they went for the Adani company. I'm repeating that for the second time, so that they will have a negotiation of thieves. Thank you.
Thank you.